Recently, Sector 3, the makers of RaceRoom, reached out to me and asked if I would like to make a sponsored video on their new and improved ranked racing system. Of course, being a shallow husk of a human known as a YouTuber, I said yes right away, which did leave me with a problem, and that was, what on earth should I make this sponsored video about? And then it occurred to me, why not let RaceRoom speak for itself? So what I've done is jumped into a ranked multiplayer session without any planning, as is tradition on this channel, and I'm going to take you through the race and my impressions of the current ranking system. Make yourselves a cup of tea, let's get on with the video. Before we get driving and ruining people's day by crashing into them, I'm going to quickly explain how the ranked racing works. So at this point in time, the ranked racing on RaceRoom works by having 10 different servers, 3 of which are non-repped servers that anyone can join, and you use these 3 servers to then gain rep and ranking that allows you to join higher rep and ranking servers. Now these 10 servers all run different cars and different tracks, with the content changing every Wednesday. Also on Wednesday is RaceRoom's weekly epic big race event, which is a 90-minute race and has multiple servers for the different skill levels. Gold and rep 1700 for your fast clean races, and then silver for slightly slower, and bronze for those of you that are not very clean and not very fast, but at least you're trying, and it's all about taking part. Rather nicely, if you want to see what's running and what you can join, you can head over to game.raceroom.com/multiplayer racing, which not only contains your actual position, as it's a big giant scoreboard of everyone listed out like some Orwellian nightmare of sim racing, but it also has all the current servers, what session they're in, what they're running, and how active they are. So you don't even need to load up the game to see what's going on, and you can just click join server from the website and load into the game from the website straight away, which I think is quite neat. So into the server that you've joined for the rank racing, in this case I joined the NSU, which is basically garden shed with some wheels attached to it and an engine on the back that's too big for the boot, so the boot has to be open to make any sense, but it's wicked. Once you're in the server, the way they operate is there's a practice session, a qualifying session, and a race session. When the server is in the practice session, anyone can join it. It's in its open state, but then it goes to qualifying, where it's effectively like a proper race weekend where, you know, you're qualifying on track with other drivers, no one else can join. And then obviously at the end of the qualifying, which is typically around about 7 minutes with most of the servers, it goes to the race session. Now there are a couple of things to note about the qualifying. As I say, you're sharing the track with other drivers, which I actually really like. It makes it feel more like a race, a real race weekend. It also adds a degree of strategy to getting a gap, maybe cheating by using a bit of draft from a car in front. Sometimes it works in your favour, sometimes it works against you. It's just fun though. Annoying, but also fun. So I quite like that, and I actually prefer that to totally closed qualifying sessions. I would say though, the qualifying time is very low, so you don't have that much time to get your lap in, which makes sense because these are 15-minute sprint races. And it's also worth noting that you don't get to finish your outlap that you're on. Once the time gets to 0, you're beamed up by the Starship Enterprise straight to the pits, and the next session begins. So you have to keep that in mind if you're like trying to plan to get 1 or 2 or maybe 3 qualifying laps in on a given session. As you can see, we managed to place ourselves in 6th. Beautiful, 1 above the Holy 7. And you might notice at the top, Thomas Smith, our arch nemesis of RaceRoom, managed to get himself into pole position. What a jammy bugger. Now, once qualifying finishes, you have 1 minute to fill your car up with fuel, twiddle around with your setups or load a save setup, and instantaneously get put on the track. I would really like RaceRoom to increase this time because it's far too stressful. But That's it, 1 minute, and you're on the racetrack ready to race. Right, we're on the grid and we go when the lights go off. Get ready for some vibrating garden sheds. Those cabbages are going to be falling out all over the racetrack. Go. Not a bad launch, and you see the car on the right. This is what I mean about these being mental vehicles. You can literally see the engine in the boot. I think the Mafia used to use these cars and they were like, hang on a minute, we could put engines in the boot instead of bodies. But look at that, we've got the yellow car poking us there, tight entry, a little bit of slip, and just get right in there, get stuck in there. And the first thing you notice, look at this blue teal car with the orange car up front there. They were literally leaning on each other. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is possibly why RaceRoom is incredible. As I absolutely cut that guy off behind us as well, but it's fine, it's totally fine. He will live to fight another day. Look at that, launch up the inside. You can really take advantage of the curbs and run over a few earthworms by putting your wheels off the side, and oh dear, off he goes. The teal mobile destroyed. You'll notice at the side there when we had that little car contact, I would like to just say I don't think that was my fault. I think he was already going round. I might have finished him off, but you know, I gave him a quick and painless death. It was merciful. But you might have noticed in that murdering scene there, we gained some incident points. So in this case, you have 40 incident points. If you go over that, you that's it. You've been banned. You get sent to the pitch. You get DQ'd from the race. So you really don't want to do that, and that obviously affects your rep as well. So you really don't want to be contacting. With these cars, what's nice is you can gently tap people, bump draft, and lean on the doors and throw tea bags into the other driver's cockpit without it giving you any instant points. You really do have to have a bit of a clatter to get those instant points, and you also get instant points if you do a track cut. But I mean, I have to say, the first lap there was an absolute delight. We managed to get ourselves right up to third place, 6th to 3rd, total catapult launch, maximum cabbage strategies. Now Thomas Schmidt, he's seen, I don't know, a German Donner in the distance, so he's gone. S. Heinekirk in front of us is holding his distance, but we're closing on him. And the cars behind, I'll let you know in advance, do manage to get back in on the action, so don't leave just yet. But this was the nice calm bit of the race. We got a bit of a gap down. It was all about dialing myself in, getting the flow of the track. And this car, though it goes all over the place, the key to speed, as is the case with all vehicles, is to try and tame the beast. Though this beast isn't particularly powerful, although it actually is quite powerful. I mean, it seems faster than a Skip Barber, but on the grand scheme of things, though this beast isn't that powerful, it is quite hard to tame still, and really good fun though to actually dial it down and like really try and get it to work your way. Along with it looking like a shed and having dead bodies in the boot, it also has a lot of suspension travel, especially with this default setup. So you kind of have to put yourself in the mind of Bobo the Clown to get the most out of this and be really delicate in steering inputs and really work the car's momentum through the corners, which I find fantastically satisfying. Now, look at us closing on the car in front. He must be sweating in his cockpit as we get a really nice smooth exit there, and we close on him and we've got the draft. You'd think this car would have a bit more draft given that it has the aerodynamics of a breeze block, but not really. And actually, I noticed in RaceRoom of the Sims, can we squeeze up the inside there? Oh, look at that. Little bit of a door tap there, no instant points. I'm in front, deal with it. I noticed in RaceRoom that the drafting seems very minimal compared to other simulators, so I don't know if that's something that will change in the future, or it's just how they've gone with it, or if it's realistic or not. But if you play a lot of the other Sims and you're expecting a lot of draft, this RaceRoom seems to have the least amount of draft. Now look at this. I got my hopes up here. I was like, right, Let's dial in the laps here. Let's get in there. Let's get Tommy Boy. Thomas Schmidt from Germany. This guy has been torturing me in RaceRoom. We've been live streaming RaceRoom a lot, and Thomas Schmidt has been beating us every race, and he's been getting more practice in, which has made it even harder to beat him. So this is the point where I wish that RaceRoom implemented the patented Nintendo green shell. Maybe a red shell. Probably need a red shell at this distance. I doubt I could hit him with a green shell from that far off. Maybe on the slow part of the track. Or actually this part here, you could use the green shell and do that thing where it bounces off the walls. That'd be perfect, and then you've got more chance of hitting people. Next level Mario Kart tips in RaceRoom there. Now, whilst we talk about Mario Kart tips, this is the Mario Kart layout of Zandvoort. It's the mini Zandvoort, which is weird because I've never driven this layout before, and I have to say it's actually really good for this type of car. For these sort of small nippy cars, that's actually quite a compelling layout. It's not, it doesn't feel like it's a sort of cut down version of the track. It kind of almost feels like its own track in and of its own right. Whereas, like, you know, Brands Hatch Indy, it's like, oh, it just feels a bit like a. It doesn't feel like Brands Hatch at all. Whereas this is all right. It's all right as far as mini tracks go. There must be something in those Stroopwafels that allow them to design good tracks in Holland. So, full power ahead down the start finish line again. I'm honestly surprised that the windows don't fall out of this car. If you've ever been on a motorway in like a 90s Peugeot, the wing mirrors start falling off. The sunroof, if you're lucky to have the sunroof version of those vehicles, that starts to fall away. The rubber comes off the door frames. The windscreen wipers should not be attached at 140 plus kilometers per hour in this vehicle. You know, really disappointed by the. I mean, maybe for this race car they upgrade the windscreen wipers, but I'd expect this car to be shaking like a beast from the amount of air pressure hitting the bonnet. As I was saying earlier about dialing this in and getting the corners right, you notice I start getting a bit sloppy, a bit too much slip, and G Blank is getting ready to punish me. Also worth saying, you notice how much we cut that the corner there. As I say, as long as you've got the two wheels on the track, ideally on the white line, some tracks it's not quite the white line, you know, the whole curbing rule. Supposedly if you've got two wheels on the curbs, that's still the track. But as long as you're doing that, you're good, really. And the cut track and the penalty system in RaceRoom is actually really quite forgiving. Very similar to what you'd expect from like the more lax real world race series. You know, it's not like Formula 1 where they seem to arbitrarily just give penalties out on some corners and not other corners. And crucially, the design of the penalties in this I don't really feel like they're penalising me in an annoying way. Like if you played Project Cars 2 or even the Assetto Corsa, some of the penalties are just like insane. They just ruin the race. But RaceRoom have gone for the chilled out marshalling. They've given the marshal something to smoke, and it's done its job. Or maybe giving him some nice cookies, and it's chilled him out a bit. But you had G Blank there was getting right on our tail, and he's trying to hassle us. And with these NSU cars, you really do have to do that, because though you can like plough your way through, your textbook punt to pass, that is an option with these cars. You do really need to like hassle an error from the car in front of you, and then with the combination of you getting the speed and them getting an error, you can actually get quite clean passes in without having to do the tried and tested punt to pass. Now we see here G Blank's getting our draft, so I go over to the right, defend the inside line a bit. I thought he'd close in on us more, he didn't. He'd less draft than I was expecting, so I pulled back to the left to then get a better line through the corner and proceed to totally flop up the middle. Absolutely terrible. G Blank almost got next to us. I gave him a little bit of a tap. No incident points, but it definitely angered him. It was like I was banging my fist on a beehive, which I often do for entertainment. There's not much to do in the UK. He was definitely, that angered him. He's gone up the left, he's going up the right, He really wants to get past us. He goes for a send up the right. I try and block it off again. You can see he got on the brakes there. I have to say, I do appreciate G Blank was, despite obviously a little bit annoyed, he was trying not to hit us. And having done a few of these NSU races, and actually a lot of the RaceRoom races, most of the drivers actually do seem to be driving very well, and in terms of not getting incident points. Well, here we go. He got a much better exit on us there, and now he's gone up the left. I can't see him. He's in my blind spot. There he is. Cheeky little garden shed nose poking through. Don't lose your seedlings. We held him off again. We got a really good line at the inside, and he was stuck on the outside there. With that T1 in this car, it's very easy. If you lock up in this car, or you get the wrong line through T1, it's very easy to just straight line it and get on the gravel. And unlike the gravel in some simulators, it actually works as a gravel trap. You really don't want to get this type of car on the gravel, because that's pretty much race over. You're off. You're going to have like a 2-week holiday at the seaside, so you really want to keep it off the gravel. But it's not over yet. We've still got 3 minutes and 52 seconds left in this. Thomas Schmidt's 4 seconds ahead of us. He's gone into pure Terminator mode as Thomas. If you listen closely, you can hear coming from his car. just faintly in the distance. G Blank again. 3. You see on the timer at the top, you can see the gap. 3/10, 2.5. I put my car in the middle. I failed to get the speed through the corner, but it's enough to hold him off, but not enough to keep a gap from him. And unfortunately, all this hustle and tussle with Sir G Blank has meant that O Balmana has got closer, and G Blank, bless him, employed the punt to pass. I can't be bitter though, because I kind of did it to him, so that's part of this racing. But he gave us a little bit of a push. That pushed my tyres over the limit, as you heard them skid there, and I just couldn't get the traction for the exit. And he got in there. Now, that was a bit of a revenge hit. Didn't do that on purpose. I think he was stabilising his car through the corner by getting on the brakes a little bit, which I wasn't expecting. I was on the power after taking a wider line. So we got an incident point there. No damage, no harm. He probably sprained his neck a little bit, but he's fine, he's off. But he managed to go a bit wide there, which has allowed me to close back in on the draft. So this is what the NSU racing is all about. Absolutely fantastic. You think, oh, I've got ahead, I've got the pass in, and you think, oh, it's over, and it's like, no. Look at that. We sort of, you could see he was trying to like defend us then. He wasn't sure if I was going to go up the inside or try and take a wider line and get the run. So I kind of just wiggled it a little bit, probably because I was out of control. But that was enough to confuse him and allow us to get enough speed. So there we go. He goes wide there, and we've got the momentum. Slap it into first gear. Engine falling out, and we've got ourselves back into second place. Absolutely beautiful. Now he's trying to squeeze up the inside there. I don't know if he manages to fit it through. Oh, he does. He keeps it there, and that stops me from being able to get the apex, and he's come back through. Half my paint is now on the side of his car. But look at this. These overtakes are, you know, full contact overtakes. We're literally leaning on each other's cars, but this is exactly what it should be. It's not causing an accident. I'm not just pushing him. The car behind's now pushing me. It's a three-way bump draft. It's turned into a garden shed orgy. He's got scratches all over the side of his car now. I wonder how he got them. You know, I have to say, I can't think of any other simulator where you can do this sort of absolutely mental classic car contact argy-bargy racing. Look at that, we got up the inside, he went up the outside, but he got a better line, and he's managed to reclaim the position for the following corners. You know, part of this is also because the Zandvoort is such a fantastic track for this type of racing. admittedly, that was a bit bold by me, taking advantage of the bouncy castle suspension there. Didn't really work out. Obviously, if you're bouncing up and down, you can't really get the power down. But it's a testament to like how good the suspension is with this, in that you can do a bit of silly stuff, and as long as you're careful with the throttle and steering, you'll get away with it. That was the last opportunity. I think we've still got in there. It's the final lap. So like, come up. I want to try and line this up for the draft. We've got S Bast behind us, but unfortunately we ran out of time here. We needed another 3 or 4 laps to go. I hand it to G Blanc. You can't even be bitter. It was proper good racecraft, good physical driving. G Blanc deserved the position he got. Thomas Schmidt though sat there in his car eating his German Donner. At least he got what he came for. He didn't even have to fight for his position. Didn't deserve it. Those of us, though, battling for second, we were the true victors of that race. But yeah, this was literally me jumping in to an arbitrary ranked server, and this is what we recorded. I think it speaks for itself. Well, not quite, because I talked over the entirety of this video, but you know what I mean. I actually think this is really fantastic. So there you go. I mean, you probably finished a cup of tea and you're probably asking yourself, well, what shall I do with my life now? Well, I tell you, you can make another cup of tea. You should always have a cup of tea on you. If you don't know about RaceRoom or how to get into it, I'll put a link to the RaceRoom store under the video. You can download and try RaceRoom for free, and you can try any of the cars in RaceRoom for free. But if you're going to buy any content, the best way or the cheapest way to get content is to use VRP through the RaceRoom store and buy it that way. So it works out 10, 20, 15% cheaper than if you just buy it directly through Steam. Soon I will be doing a video explaining which content is probably the best content to get for the rack racing and the cheapest way or the easiest way to get into it. So if you want to be alerted for when that goes live, click the subscribe button, click the bell, and you'll also be alerted when we next do a live stream, which will probably be in RaceRoom ranking because we have a problem with trying to get to the top of the scoreboard. But yes, until then, I have to say thank you very much for watching this. Thank you Sector 3 for sponsoring the video. Really appreciate that. And happy tea drinking, happy racing. Until the next one, goodbye guys.